A cowboy story, a key to understanding the environmental crisis. After a long day on the range, our four cowboys are hot, tired, and thirsty. They want to go to the local saloon to drink some beer and play cards before going home. After ordering their beer, they ask the bartender if they can borrow a deck of cards. "Of course," says the bartender. "I'll lend you a deck of cards, but I want collateral to make sure you return the cards. Your holster or saddle will do. I'll give you each 13 cards, that's the deck divided by 4, and when you're done, I want you each to return 14 cards, one extra for interest." Imagine how this story will end. As absurd as the story seems, it closely parallels how today's money system works. Coins and bills make up only 2 to 3% of all the money we use. It is the only money with any material substance. The other 97% is credit, cyber money. Cyber money is created when banks make loans. Let's say that Judy needs $100,000 to start a business. If the banker figures her proposal is viable and approves a loan, he doesn't go to the bank's vault and gather up $100,000 in depositors' money. What the banker does is write a line of credit in the bank's books for $100,000. It might have ink molecules in it, but most likely it's just electrons on a hard drive. Judy can now start to withdraw cash or write checks for the materials, labor, rent, and whatever else she needs to get the business going. Those who receive her checks deal with them in the same way they handle any other checks. The new money is now in circulation. When the checks are cashed or deposited, they are sent back to the bank that gave Judy the loan, and the various amounts are subtracted from her line of credit. As Judy's business progresses and she makes payments on her loan, the money she returns to the bank disappears into the same void from which it was created. The catch is that while the bank created $100,000 for the loan, it did not create the extra 5 or 10% needed to pay the interest charges, the 14th card. This is where the problem emerges. In order for there to be enough money for Judy to pay her interest, other loans have to be made to get additional money into circulation. Fortunately for Judy, there are new loans being made all the time. For the other borrowers to pay off their loans with interest, there needs to be another wave of loans, larger than the last. Then, for that wave to make all of their payments, another wave, bigger still, is necessary. As long as the volume of money being created through new loans is greater than the amount of all the old loans being paid back, plus the interest, the system is stable. However, if there is not always a greater volume of new loans, growth, some people will not be able to collect enough money to repay their loans, and some will lose their collateral, their house, their business, or their saddle. To be fair, the card game analogy falls short on one point. Since our cowboys can't create additional cards, they don't have a chance. In our economy, people can and do create wealth through their efforts. Materials are processed or worked with to produce goods and services that are worth more than the costs involved. As long as more wealth is created, the system can feed its expansion. The problem is a result of the monetary system's success at stimulating exponential growth. While access to money and the compulsion of having to pay it back with interest stimulates economic activity, practically every step requires natural resources and creates waste. This growth-based economic system has doubled and redoubled human impacts over and over, to the point that today our biggest problems result from our size. The total impacts of human activity now stretch the Earth's supplies of natural resources and its ability to absorb our waste. Now that humankind is pressing planetary limits, it is critical that we stabilize our relationship with our planet. Perpetual economic expansion is due for review. It is a question of direction.